Welcome back to another episode of Back to the Drawing Board. I'm Alec Bean, and today we're switching it up a bit. We're going to take a look at the Detroit Pistons. Now, I know the NBA is still in season. I know we haven't even hit the All-Star break yet, but I'm sure we can all agree on the fact that the Pistons shouldn't even be thinking about the rest of the season, but they should be thinking about next year, maybe even the years to come. So for starters, no matter what happens in any sort of rebuild for the Pistons, they're going to keep Cade Cunningham. Now, Cade Cunningham is getting up there to be a superstar. He's a phenomenal player. He can do anything that you ask him to. So we're going to keep him no matter what happens. Contract, whatever. Pay him as much money as you want. First thing we're going to do, trade Bojan Bogdanovic and Alec Burks. They're both old. Both have huge contracts that combine to $30.5 million. So we're going to get rid of them. And now the Hawks, the Atlanta Hawks, they want to get rid of DeJounte Murray. But that's not who we're going after with this one. We're going to go after Onyeka Okongwu. Maybe a second-round pick, probably not. But we're going to give up Bogdanovic, Burks, probably a future first-round pick for Okongwu. He's a beast. When he gets high minutes, he makes great things happen for the Hawks. He's behind Clint Capella. I think he would flourish in a starting role with the Pistons. That would free up around $24 million cap space. I believe he's getting $15.5 million a year after this. We're gonna let the rest of the season ride out. We're gonna tank. I mean, you kind of have to tank when you're the Pistons. Coming to the draft, it's no shock that the Pistons are gonna have the number one pick. They have 6 wins as of right now at the day of this upload. I know every mock draft has them taking Alexandre Sarr, dominant 7'1" center, but they don't need size. They just got Okongwu in a trade from the Hawks. They have Jalen Duren. They have big men. So with that said, I have them taking Sakari Versace, a small forward out of the pros in France. It's pro comparison is Michael Porter Jr. I think this could be a guy the Pistons need. They need offense more than they need defense. And that's exactly what they're going to get out of the 18-year-old from France. With a team with little to no offense, and play through mainly just through Cade, they need somebody like this, and I think that this would be a huge get for the Pistons. Now, moving on to free agency, probably going to end up having around $73 million to trades, to the draft, to everyone in the Pistons has their contracts up. I'm not re-signing any player from the Pistons this season. If their contract's up, they're not coming back. So with that, $73 million. I think this is a big free agency for them. They need to get key role players who have great upside. With that said, I have them doing the following. I think they can go out and get Buddy Hield for the right price. I think they can get him for 3 years, $55 million. He's a great shooter. The problem is that they have to pay everybody a little bit more than what other teams would pay because nobody really wants to go to Detroit, man. Nobody wants to go to the Pistons. They're not good enough. Like, say the Celtics are out there and they have $10 million, they can sign somebody who's a good role player. They're a big market team that people want to play for. The Pistons, though, nobody wants to play for them, so you gotta pay them more. Money talks in the league nowadays. So sign Buddy Hield for 3 years, $55 million. You're gonna sign Kelly Olynyk for 3 years, $39 million. This is the big one right here. I think that they signed Nick Claxton, 4 years, $100 million. He is a borderline superstar. The man's stats speak for themselves. I mean, this guy can do anything. He can rebound, he can score, he can protect the paint, he can block, he can protect the rim. He can do pretty much whatever you ask him to do. It's going to be hard getting him away from the Nets. I think $25 million a year, I think that's going to sway him. But moving down from that, I have him signing Patrick Beverley, 2 years, $16 million. Patrick Pat Bev. There's a lot to say about him. He's not great on offense. We know that. Lockdown defender. You need a guy like this on your team. A guy who can lead. A guy who can, talk his trash, and back it up on the defensive end. I think that he would be a good pickup for this Pistons team. So moving on, I think they're going to let the rest of their cap space kind of just sit there. They have around, I think it was like $8 million when I did the math, left there, and I think they're going to keep this in case they decide to make trades next season. Now, obviously, they're gonna probably sign some like borderline guys, some like, oh, I can pay you $1 million, and you're just kind of gonna sit at the end of the bench to hit that 13-player mark. Now for the coaching staff, scrapping everybody. You gotta get rid of everyone. But we're gonna mainly take a look at the head coaching job. Monty Williams is not a good coach. I've stood by that even since he was on the Suns. He is not a good coach. He had 2 good years with the Suns, reaching the finals 1 time, and his win percentage of his career is below 500. He has more losses than he actually has wins. I don't think he's a good coach. I don't think he can rebuild this team from what they once were with the bad boy Pistons in the 90s. I don't think he can do that. I don't think he's a winner. He's not the guy in Detroit. So with that said, I think they go out and they get Mike Budenholzer. He's turned franchises around. We saw that with the Hawks. He's a proven winner. He won the NBA championship. I mean, I know he had Giannis Antetokounmpo, but he won the NBA championship. That in itself, even with a star player like Giannis, is still hard to do. Speaking of which, he beat Monty Williams. I think that if they make this change, they have the possibility to make the playoffs for the next few years. I think that they have what it takes in their young guys, especially in Jalen Duren, Kate Cunningham, maybe even Jaden Ivey if he can get it going. I think that they have the right tools if they follow everything that I said today. They have the right tools to get things done in the Eastern Conference. So with that said, here are all the changes I made to the Pistons this episode. And that's going to do it for another episode of Back to the Drawing Board. From the UCTV studio, I'm Alec Bean, and I'll see you next time.